Hello everyone, I hope you're keeping well. You're watching Bob's Bangers, home of all things rubbish. It's going to be a bit of a different video today. I've booted up the second memory card that I've got on my emulator, so this is not the main account. Don't worry, I've not cheated in a load of money. But today I wanted to discuss Forza Motorsport. And because I can't quite figure out how to capture it on my Xbox and put it onto my computer because it runs like doo-doo on my computer, we're going to be playing some Gran Turismo 4. As you can see, I've got a Aston Martin Vanquish, one of my all-time favourite cars. These things are beautiful. I wish it was an S, but never mind. I'm just going to be doing some hot laps. We'll probably jump in a few cars and yeah, we'll just basically see what happens in this video. But I wanted to take this time to discuss a subject that means quite a lot to me as someone who is such a large racing game fan. What have they done with Motorsport? And that's the first thing we've got to ask. What have they done with Motorsport? It is atrocious. Now, I'm not referring to physics when I'm talking about that. I want to make that perfectly clear that I'm not referring to the way the game handles, because the driving physics in Motorsport 8 are superb. It's miles above Motorsport 7, which was a game that had its own host of issues. However, that game also did a lot more right than what Motorsport 8 does. And that's a real shame considering how long Motorsport 8 has been in development. Now, this isn't a script. I haven't basically got a list of things that I want to run through. This is basically just going to be some fat, bold and ginger's opinion that no one really cares about. But what have they done with the upgrade system? I think that's got to be the first thing we talk about here. I do not understand what they were thinking. I can understand, I guess I can understand in a way. Locking the upgrades behind levels isn't necessarily a bad idea. What is a horrendous idea is locking those upgrades behind 3 hours of grinding and then having the cheek to call it a builder's cup when you can't even build the cars. I was doing a race the other day. I think it would have been the Japanese races with the Supras, the RX-7s, the Skylines and the 3000 GTs. And there's cars in that lobby that have got wide body kits, and we'll get onto that in a minute. You know, and they've got all the sorts of aero, but I can't actually put all that stuff on my car because it's not a high enough level. And it wouldn't be so bad if your car was up to max level by the end of the championship, but it's not even close. I think you're a third of the way through most of the time. Sometimes you're halfway through if you're lucky. And it's shocking. It's taken all of the freedom out of the game. And the thing is, it doesn't encourage you to want to drive the cars, because cars are so cheap in the game, you might as well just buy the fastest car and leave it stock. It takes everything that made Forza good out of the game. You know, someone that started on Motorsport 4, and then I've played Motorsport 2, 3, yeah, I've played all the Horizon games. The ability to fix what's wrong on a car is what makes Forza great. You know, I started with the Mustang, and I really could have done with wider front tyres, a little bit of extra traction, and some stiffer suspension because it was a bit of a boat. And all I could do was an intake and an exhaust. The car never had an issue with horsepower. You know, I never look at a 5 litre V8 and go, God, I wish it was faster. Unless it's an old Fox body that made, what was 140 horsepower or something stupid, I don't know. But the point remains, it's a horrendous system. It makes no sense, and I hate it. I've actually gone out as far to say to my mates that I think this is the worst Motorsport this far. And that's annoying considering how long it's been in development. They've told us this game's been, you know, built from the ground up, and it's been 6 years, like 6 years worth of work, and it feels like 20 minutes worth of work. I've no doubt they've put a lot of effort into the handling model, because the handling model, like I said, is fantastic. But the graphics aren't even that good. Like, I've had graphical glitches left, right and centre, and I'm playing on an Xbox Series S, I think it is, the one without the disc tray. You know, and I haven't got all the ray tracing options and stuff that other people do. But that's not the point. Like, the game should still run nicely. And some of the backgrounds look like they were made on an Xbox 360 engine. It's unacceptable for a game which they're charging £70 to £100 for. Completely unacceptable. It's crashed 4 times on me now when I've tried to select a car. It's atrocious. And the car sounds, what have they done? Now, they haven't really been right for a few years now, let's be honest. I mean, some cars sound great. Some cars sound genuinely awesome. Other cars sound awful. I drove a Audi RS3 Saloon. Keyword being saloon. It was in the sports coupe category for whatever reason, and it sounds awful. It sounds like a computer exploding. It just sounds pixelated, if that makes sense. I don't get how they took an engine that sounds so glorious and made it sound so awful. The AE86, a good friend of mine, Matt, was saying about how bad that sounds. Where's the induction noise? That's a 4AGE. All they make is induction noise. That's what they're famous for. It's such, it's so unacceptable. And the career progression. What is going on with that? I mean, having 4 to 5 races in a basically the championship, if you will, not a championship, but like a I don't even know what to call it, but basically a series, let's call it. But and then having like 4 or 5 championships within that series, you know, that's not bad. That's a good idea. However, there's only 4 or 5 to choose from. You know, I've basically completed the game at this point. I've only been playing for a couple of hours. And once again, it doesn't encourage you to build cars for those championships. All you really need to do is find a car that you like and keep it stock. If I wanted to race around in stock supercars, I'd play Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, which I would consider to be a better game at this stage. And they had the cheek to say, oh, it's a continuously development game. No! If the game's been in development for 6 years, it should be complete on launch. It's atrocious. And that's where Motorsport 7 really shined, was, you know, the freedom to pick what cars and trucks or whatever you wanted to drive in the campaign. You know, you can attack a championship or a series the way you wanted to. And yes, the homologation thing brought its own host of issues, but at least you had the freedom to put some modifications on the car. You know, yeah, the game told you had to have a certain parameter, but all the other cars were set to that parameter too, so it made the racing much closer. The AI on this game think they think they play Wreckfest. You know, you crash off on the first corner. I mean, if you're someone that plays with rewind on, if you rewind on a tricky corner, that even on hard AI, they'll fly themselves off the road. It's so easy to cheese the game. And the thing is, they've put in this this penalty system, which in concept's a brilliant idea. It doesn't work. Like, you know, there's been times where I've gone off the outside of a track and slowed down, and it's given me a 2-second time penalty because it thinks I've gained an advantage by going on the grass and going completely sideways. It's awful. It's and that's the annoying thing about the new Motorsport game, is there is a good game hiding somewhere in there. There really is. I just can't seem to find it. And I think a lot of people suffer with the same issues. The online's fantastic. There's no getting around that. The online is very, very good. Like, the racing's close. I do enjoy it, and I like the fact that you get sort of ranked on how safe you drive and how clean you drive. But the actual choices for online races are so slim. Like, where's open track day? Where's open drift days? Like, oh, about to go off. Where's drag racing? All the stuff that I enjoy in Forza games, like drag racing and open track days, I can't do. I love hot lapping, I really do. Hence why we're in an Aston Martin V12 Vanquish going around Tsukuba. But it's just a real shame. I was really looking forward to this game. I really was, and it's let me down horrendously. And when you consider the history of Forza, and you look at games like Motorsport 3 and 4, and you realise how good they were, not just for the time, but even today, how well they stand up, you've got to question how they got it so wrong. And then there's the car models. I mean, some of them are quite good, I think. Like the ones that they've probably ported over from Motorsport 7 or Horizon 5, I'm guessing, they look fine. But the fact they're still using some car models from the old Motorsport 3 and 4 games is awful. The AE86 looks so out of proportion. It might as well be in a PS2 game. The S15, how difficult is it to get hold of a stock S15? There's got to be one in a Nissan museum, or, you know, there's got to be someone that's collected one and kept it nice and clean. Just rescan the car. You spent 6 years developing the game, and you tell me you can't rescan like 5 or 6 cars that people actually drive, like the R32 GTR, which once again is also horrendously out of proportion. Speaking of out of proportion, the wide body kits. I was doing that JDM Legends Championship, and I was driving around in my Supra, and there was a wide body Supra in there. Is it the KRC body kit? The one from Horizon 5. And because you can't space out the wheels, which was a basic function in the Horizon 4, sorry, which was a game that came out how many years ago, The wheels are lost in the massively wide arches. Now, what's the point in putting a wide body on a car if you can't fill out the arches? It's horrendous. It's such a mess. And it really upsets me because I really enjoy the handling model. Throwing the cars around the track is more fun than it ever has been, in my opinion. I do think the handling model itself is better than Motorsport 4, which I never thought I'd say. And that's the game I benchmark all racing games against, is Forza Motorsport 4, and more recently now Gran Turismo 4, because this is still an excellent game. I just wish they'd spent more time making it for car people instead of for gamers. And I know that sounds like an incredibly selfish thing, but the simple fact of the matter is, the people that play these games 9 times out of 10 are car people. And if that's the demographic that you're letting down, you failed. You failed as a game manufacturer. And I'm sorry, but the new Motorsport, in my eyes, is a failure. And don't get me wrong, it's not like it's alone in this matter. Gran Turismo 7 has its own host of issues. You know, the single player mode being lackluster in that as well. I'd argue in some cases it can look better, in some cases it can look worse. The car sounds, once again, in Gran Turismo, they're definitely not a highlight. But it's just a problem with modern racing games. All of them seem to be a cash grab. The only one that I've truly enjoyed the past few years, like, fully, is Crew Motorfest. And I never thought I'd say that. And that game has its own problems. It's not a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, and they're asking far too much money for it. But, crucially, it's a lot more fun. It's a game that I can jump into, spend a couple of hours on without even realising, and, you know, I walk away feeling satisfied. I walk away from Forza feeling frustrated. And I shouldn't feel frustrated after playing a video game, unless I'm playing something like, I don't know, what's it called? Dark Souls or something like that. But the thing is, at least with those games, they're frustrating, and then you get a nice reward once you beat them. I haven't felt rewarded in the new Forza game yet, not even slightly. And that's a real shame. It really is. I think I'll finish this lap and we'll change cars up a bit and we'll do something else. But I just don't get how they got it so wrong. And how outdated the car list now is as well. I mean, they've got some new race cars, sure, but most of the GT cars and the touring cars are outdated. You're racing 2014 Focus touring cars against 2022 Hyundais. In what world does that make sense? I can tell you in what world, it doesn't. You know, unless it was for like a special event, you wouldn't expect to see a Mark II Jag racing a 1990s Ford Mondeo Super Touring. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I just wish they'd paid attention. I wish they put some effort into making the game what it should be, which is fun. And they haven't done that. And I don't think they ever will. And that is the worst part. I genuinely see this game being a mess for quite a few months, and that is a stupid thing to say, but I feel like I'm correct on that, and I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope there's like a 1 month in patch that fixes everything that I've spoken about today. Well, not necessarily everything, but it's, you know, shows that they're making an effort to make a game that actually is for the people. Oh, there's my Grand Sport that I was missing. I just don't see it. I really don't. And that is a real shame. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I tell you, we're talking about S15 car models. This one looks a lot more in proportion than the one in Motorsport 8. I'm not joking, it's more detailed as well. How does a game from 2004 have more detailed car models? Why is it also only making 223 horsepower? That's wrong. It just boils my blood to think that this is the effort they've put into this game. Not this game. Gran Turismo 4 was fantastic from the start. Shall we drive the Hack Oscar? I think we shall. I'll do an oil change on the thing though. But I'm sure I'm not alone in saying what I'm saying. And I hope, you know, some of you guys in the comments do come down and actually, if you've played the game, discuss what you think about the game, because I'd love to hear some other people's opinions on this. You know, it's one thing me moaning and, you know, to my mates and to you guys, but I'd like to know if other people genuinely do share the same opinion, or maybe if I'm being an idiot and I'm missing something blatantly obvious, which I don't think I am. And the thing is, I don't want to hate Forza. I don't want to hate any game because, you know, I am a Forza fanatic. The amount of hours I spent on Motorsport 4 doing rivals events, you know, autocross. But there's another thing. Where's the autocross, man? It's just, it just feels like they've not really considered us, the car people, and that's so annoying because I don't know about a lot of you guys, but for me, cars are everything. I wouldn't be the person I am today without cars, and the fact that they've taken such a laid-back approach to things. Yes, they look sick. Okay, as I was saying though, the fact they've taken such a laid-back approach to things just proves that they don't really care. You know, and that's the biggest crime. How you're trying to sell this game to people that actually want to play it, and I guarantee the majority of players are on Game Pass because no one wants to spend 100 quid on a game that's not finished. And this is a problem with all modern games, and I do mean all modern games. It's awful. And, you know, I'm just one person talking in front of potentially 10 people. I don't even know. This video might not even be seen by anyone at this stage. But you know, as a community of, you know, car people, gamers, we've got to stand up against this sort of stuff. We've got to say, no, enough's enough. Stop spending money on these games and actually start making a stand. Get the car models changed. Bring in the cars that we actually want. And I know licensing's a difficult thing to get hold of. It has to be. But the simple fact of the matter is, I would take boring, mundane cars, like, you know, 107 Peugeots and stupid things like that we used to have in Horizon 4, not Horizon 4, Motorsport 4, if it means that we get access to better cars in the long run. Because I would quite happily race around in, you know, a Prius or whatever, if it meant that I got access to a Chaser and a Starlet. You know, they're the sort of deals you want to be making, and the fact that we can't even get to that stage, and, you know, as not even just as a community, like the fact that we can't even get access to these cars is horrid. And like I said, I'm sure a lot of that is down to licensing issues, and that is fair enough. But you've also got to make the effort to make the to try and get the licensing, not just go, oh, we'll throw in a bunch of electric cars and that'll be good enough. I mean, the latest Horizon update, or not the latest one, it would, because this video is going to be going out just after the Mexico one goes out with the Nissan Suru and stuff, had a BMW SUV electric car and an i4 electric car. I mean, we got the M3 and the M2, which is really cool, but I kind of can't help but think, I know this sort of contradicts what I've just said, but we're also missing some other critical cars. You know what I mean? And I just can't help but think those cars should have just been given to us in the game, or give us the ability to buy, instead of being a 1 week challenge only car. We get access to one of them, and that's it. And this is the big issue with Forza Horizon games, is the fact that, you know, they'll bring out a car that you can get for 1 week, and then you only get one of them. I don't know about you guys, but when I play Forza, I tend to buy several of the same car because I like to build them for different things. For example, in Horizon 4, I had an LS-powered off-road tired lifted MX-5 because I like to play around in the mud. But I'd also have a drift spec one, and I'd also have one that had just had a big turbo on it, and so on and so forth. And that is another big problem with the new Motorsport game. The fact that you're sitting there. I really do mean you are sitting there, basically with, you know, after 3 hours trying to grind out these cars, and you get to level 50. I'd say let's use a car. What car was I using? My 240 SX. I got that car to level 50. You know, I grinded for ages to get it so I could get all the engine swaps and everything. I'll probably get stomped, but I'm only just playing this game as a backdrop. And then if you buy another one, you have to level up for 3 hours again. In what world does that make sense? Surely, if I've spent 3 hours on one car, if I buy another one, the parts should be unlocked for it. It's just awful. There's no defending the game, and if you enjoy it, fair play to you. I really do hope you get what you want out of the game, and I mean that wholeheartedly. Oh, I've left the traction control on. Okay. But I can't personally enjoy it, and that is the biggest crime. Do you know what? Let's not do this because I will just get stomped. I don't know. Obviously, this is just one person ranting in front of a load of people while playing Gran Turismo in the background, showing off some cars. But you guys have got to understand where I'm coming from on this, surely. Yeah, we'll clear it. Go on then. And it's the lack of content as well. The fact that they've removed more things than they've added at this point. We've got no wheel spaces. The gearbox options are limited. The tyre options are limited. Oh, we can go hard, medium, and soft. Fair enough. But obviously we don't need off-road tyres. But where are the drift tyres? Where are the vintage race tyres? You know, perhaps I want to build a period-correct Jaguar Mark II touring car, or you know, perhaps I want to build a period-correct 240Z whatever. Like, I don't know. But the fact you've taken out more things than you've put in, and then you're charging as much money as you are, and then telling us that you're going to add more stuff as the game goes along, is criminal. It's daylight robbery. And the thing is, it's not like Microsoft need the money. I mean, sure, they've just bought Blizzard. I forgot to turn off the traction control again. Oh well. But, you know, they've got access to all these different games. They've got some of the most successful franchises of all time. I mean, for Christ's sake, they've got Halo. And they're still trying to rip us off. And the amount of times I've come close to uninstalling Motorsport 8, and the only reason I haven't is because the physics are so much better than, you know, the pogo stick cars in Motorsport 7. It's unbelievable. Like, I was fed up with the game after 2 hours of playing. And I am not joking. It's atrocious. It's an absolute crime against racing games. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's a bad game in terms of the way it plays, because that is completely incorrect. Like, I've seen what bad racing games look like. I played a drag racing game on the PS2 once, and it run like absolute dog dirt. But I've also seen what good racing games look like, and you're currently looking at one of those. A game which had endless amount of content, a huge car list, detailed models, and came out fixed. And don't get me wrong, this game's not perfect. The endurance races take the absolute mick. You can cut every single corner you want to. But the core gameplay was there. And the simple fact of the matter is, if you don't overbuild your cars like I have done here, there is a real challenge to be had with this game. There is not a challenge to be had with Motorsport 8. There's one AI car that seems to pull away from the pack as well, like just randomly. The rest are all dog dirt slow. Now, is there a way to fix that? I don't know, but every single time I've played it so far, I've had one car that's actually been difficult to keep up with, which is fun, but the rest of the pack all crash themselves off in T1, and that's it. Like, you can literally get all the points for overtaking. And the fact that you have to, like, we don't have to practice, you can skip it, but, you know, practicing does help level up your car, which you definitely need, but it doesn't affect your starting position. It's ridiculous. If I'm practicing and set lap times, I want it to be so that the lap time I set determines where I am on the grid, because that means I've earned that spot on the grid. I don't want to be able to just go onto the grid and basically go, oh, that'll do, and pick like the P3, pick a car that's really good off the line and just dominate the race, because it seems like the second you get in front, they all just let off the throttle. And unless you're driving like an absolute lunatic, they're not going to catch up. And the simple fact of the matter is, what I found myself doing at the minute is playing the game idle. So I'm not even, well, I say playing the game, I'm not even playing the game. All I'm doing is basically setting all the assists on so the game plays itself, going on an oval track, and occasionally hitting the A button, because your game locks you out after 50 minutes without a new button input. So I'm just letting the cars level up themselves. The fact that I'm playing a Forza game, a racing game, like, I don't know, Raid Shadow Legends, for example, is ridiculous. You cannot expect me to sit there and go, yeah, that's exactly what I want from a video game. It's awful. It is honestly awful, and they should be ashamed of themselves. That's pretty much everything I have to say on the matter. I have got to be honest, I'm probably sure that, you know, I'm just rambling at this point. But I am really curious to know how you guys feel about all this. I want to know if you guys do share that same opinion as me. I want to know if you guys sit there and think, do you know what? No, the new Forza game's a bit crap, and it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be, but it is. But guys, I really do appreciate you sitting here and let me vent, because it's something I need to get off my chest, and I want to know, like I said, please do comment. I really want to know what you guys think of the situation. But thank you very much for watching, everyone. Please do like, comment, and subscribe. Look at the most beautiful Aston, modern Aston they ever made, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care, everyone.